Welcome, future educators. If you're a technical teacher certificate trainee tuning in, consider this explainer your dynamic masterclass. Today, we're grabbing some foundational teaching methodologies straight from our source materials that will absolutely transform your future Indian classrooms.
Before we even look at the specific tools, I want you to anchor yourselves to a really powerful mantra pulled straight from our source text. What is seen and heard together is understood better and remembered longer. Just think about that for a second. The impact you're going to have on your students' retention and understanding isn't just about what you say, it's about what they experience.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. First, the teacher's essential toolkit. Second, the storytelling method. Third, mastering classroom storytelling. Fourth, the lecture cum demonstration. Fifth, executing effective demonstrations. And finally, choosing your teaching strategy. Let's get started.
Section 1. The Teacher's Essential Toolkit, Building Your Classroom Methodology.
Section 2. The Storytelling Method, Through a Story, Knowledge, Values, Inspiration.
So, you know that common hurdle of student disengagement? Well, we need the right tools to conquer it. Tool number 1 targets emotional resonance, and this beautifully illustrates the exact vibe we're going for. Notice the bilingual text on the walls? Look at those highly engaged kids sitting right up close around the teacher. Try to visualize yourself executing this in your own classroom. You're right there at the center, drawing them in.
Let's ground this pedagogy in some clear academic terms, which is going to be super helpful for your certificate exams. The storytelling method is defined as a teaching method in which the teacher uses stories to make the lesson simple, interesting, and meaningful, and to develop values and good behavior in students. You'll want to remember this definition because it locks in the whole fundamental purpose of the method. It's not just about entertaining the kids, right? It's about actively shaping their character.
Section 3. Mastering Classroom Storytelling, Step-by-Step Execution.
All right, let's shift from theory to practice and see how to deploy this tool in a live lesson. Picture this like a lesson plan unfolding in real time. Step 1 is preparation, carefully selecting the right story. Step 2 is the introduction, where you grab their attention. Step 3 is telling the story, and listen, you've got to do this with real interest and expression, no monotone reading aloud. Step 4 is discussion, asking questions to check if they're following along. And finally, Step 5 is the conclusion, where you bring out the moral and those core values. It's a beautifully structured journey, right from picking the tail to extracting the lesson.
To actually pull this off, you're going to need the right teaching aids and examples. We're talking pictures, puppets, props, audio, video, flashcards. And what kind of stories? Panchatantra tales, Jataka stories, inspirational and historical stories. The trick is to bring these physical props into the class with you. Making it visual and tactile makes the entire lesson incredibly student-centered and just so much easier to understand.
Now, we do have to look at this objectively. The merits. They are fantastic. It makes learning interesting, it develops listening and language skills, and it deeply enhances imagination. But on the flip side, what about the demerits? Well, it takes more time. It's kind of difficult to manage if you've got a really large class, and frankly, it requires you to actively hone your personal storytelling craft. It really does take practice to be a great storyteller.
But honestly, the effort is totally worth it. As our source beautifully puts it, a good story, a good thought, a better life. Let this mantra be a narrative anchor for you right now. Whenever you use the storytelling tool, remember your ultimate goal. You aren't just passing time, you're helping shape good human beings.
Section 4. Lecture cum demonstration. Explanation plus demonstration equals effective learning.
Okay, let's switch gears to some highly practical, science-oriented instruction with tool number 2. Now, what's really interesting here is the teacher. Look at how she is actively performing a chemistry experiment with beakers and a burner, all while simultaneously explaining the concepts out loud. She is quite literally showing and telling at the exact same time.
For your exam prep, here is the core meaning block you absolutely need to know. The lecture cum demonstration method is a teaching method in which the teacher explains a topic verbally and demonstrates it practically to make the students understand clearly. This is exactly how you bridge that gap between abstract academic theory and observable reality.
Section 5. Executing effective demonstrations, bringing theory to life.
Let's get you energized for the practical execution phase. We're going to walk through this dynamic 5-step flow to perfectly correlate theory with practice. Step 1, gaining attention, creating that initial spark of interest in the topic. That leads perfectly into Step 2, verbal explanation. Then you prove what you just said with Step 3, practical demonstration, using an experiment or a model. Next, you test that knowledge in Step 4, Q&A, clearing up any doubts they might have. And you wrap the whole shebang up with step 5, conclusion, summarizing all the key points. Basically, explain, demonstrate, and make them understand.
To really paint a picture of this active, visually rich classroom, you'll need tangible tools. Think charts, physical models, a projector, laboratory apparatus. You might use these to explain the evaporation of water, show a physical model of the parts of a plant, or even demonstrate map reading. This is where you put your students' observation skills to the ultimate test.
Let's objectively weigh this method too. The merits, the concept becomes crystal clear. It flawlessly correlates theory with practice, promotes lasting learning, and allows you to cover way more information in less time. But we have to talk about the demerits. There's no hands-on experience for the students themselves. Setting up those experiments can be pretty time-consuming, and let's be real, it can be hard for students in the back to see clearly if you're in a crowded, large class.
Section 6. Choosing your teaching strategy. When to use which tool.
We've synthesized a lot today, so how does a master teacher actually decide which tool to pull from their newly equipped kit? Well, the crucial point is recognizing their specific strengths. The storytelling method focuses heavily on instilling values, sparking imagination, and developing listening skills through the power of narrative. It really captures the heart. On the other hand, the lecture-cum-demonstration method focuses on scientific observation, practical proof, and visual clarity. It captures the analytical mind and the eyes.
Both are incredibly powerful, and as technical teacher certificate trainees, you now have both of them mastered in theory. So, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative question. Which method will you use to inspire your classroom tomorrow? Keep learning, keep explaining, and I'll catch you next time.